Hello, hello. Are we live? We are live, yes. Unfortunately, I was not able to go live on Twitch and Twitter and YouTube at the same time because my proxy failed me. So what am I supposed to do? Hello, Jason. Hello, Ahmad. Hello, Frenzy. Today, we're going to be doing Elixir stuff. Um... What is on the agenda? Today we are going to learn Elixir and Phoenix. I'm going to build a server that hopefully I can do some funky connection stuff with on my GitHub Pages website. Maybe. Let's see. Is Elixir good to learn? When and why? Elixir is good to learn when you need something that's massively concurrent. Fun fact, Elixir is what powers WhatsApp, I think. So we are going to try to do something like that. And by the way, I have a subscription to ChatGPT now, which means that I can use Codex. I'm sure many people will be really happy about this. Now the question is, how much do I want to learn versus how much do I want to build? Finally. So let me take a quick look through the docs here. So this stuff I need, like I do need the toolchain and an LSP for my editor. So we'll get Codex to install that stuff. But I will be using the Phoenix web framework. It says here we need Elixir. Apparently it can be installed through Homebrew. Hello VK. Okay, so pretty easy install, I would say. Elixir lang sh. Is that even a real script? Install scripts. Okay. For Ubuntu, yeah. Version managers, ASDF, MES. This thing? Any particular reason? It's relevant to some things that I've been learning lately, but I was working on something lately where I needed a lot of WebSockets, and so I decided to look into Elixir, and it seems to be really good for it. but I don't know enough to feel comfortable with it. And so this is my exploration into that. So apparently this thing here, this is a task running tool. Why does this have a link for Elixir? Like it comes with Elixir or something? Mies. WebSockets versus WebSocket streaming versus WebRTC. What do you mean? Oh, version runtime. Okay. I don't care about any of these. We've got it installed now. Or at least it is installing. And then apparently we also need Erlang. When we install Elixir using instructions from the install page, we usually get Erlang too. Okay. Postgres? Why do we need Postgres for Phoenix? I don't need that, right? Yeah, I don't need that. iNotify tools for Linux users. Phoenix provides a very handy feature called live reloading. Right, do I need to install? What is it doing here? Allow installing Elixir LS under your user data directory, exposing the toolchain from local bin, and initializing hex and rebar. Yes. Do I have iNotify? Postgres works really well with Phoenix. Yeah, I don't think I'll need a database for what I'm going to be doing. Oopsies. I always forget the keybinds. I imagine if I was going to make a full web app with Phoenix, which seems like a cool idea, that I would want to use Postgres for doing that stuff. Okay, so we have iNotify installed. Basically, the outcome that I want to do, it's pretty simple. I don't think it'll take very long. But if you go to my website, this is on GitHub Pages. So it's a static site. What I want to do is to set up a little JavaScript on this blog or this page or every page, which is going to connect to the Phoenix server, and it's going to show who is currently hanging out. Maybe it has to be anonymous, obviously, because so maybe it would just be the number of people currently viewing the page, or I don't know. Maybe it could give you a little animal and the animal runs around or something like that. I don't know. Or an emoji or something like that. Good evening. Hello, Alex. Can we show everyone's cursor on the page? Maybe. that might be funny. Like just as an experiment, you know. All right. So what have we got in here now? We have nothing in here. Cool. So to initialize, I think, do I have mix? I've got mix. Hexer, is that a thing? So we've got this. How am I using AI for learning? Basically just asking whatever questions I need, and nothing extremely sophisticated. So mix, okay, so I need to install the Phoenix framework, it's saying to do a shell thing to install Phoenix. That seems crazy. Live whiteboard vibes. Okay, so the script is literally just talking to... Oh, yeah, I've done this wrong. I don't actually want it to create a little project for me. Jarvis, teach me quantum mechanics of a supercomputer. Make no mistakes. Yes. So apparently I need to get the mix. Yeah, apparently, okay. With mix, how do I install Phoenix framework? Maybe just use the agent's fingerprint of your users. Can you explain why you need WebSockets? It's not a need. This is just, it's a proof of concept. Okay, so mix archive.install hex and Phoenix new. Yes. So now we can do mix Phoenix new inside in this directory. And it has done a bunch of stuff. Move this over here, move this over here. Yeah, so the reason my blog does not need WebSockets. But I wanted to learn the technology behind Elixir, and in particular, there's this thing, Phoenix Presence, which I wanted to learn. This kind of sub-module of the Phoenix framework, where you have this concept of rooms. And so people are going to be connecting and they're going to be in a room. And let's just call the room like one of the pages. And so if we use a little bit of JavaScript to just do the connection and update the page, then we should be able to see like everyone joined together, like doing multiplayer in a way on the site. And we'll see how that goes. It'll be something like this. Socket IO. Yes, I think it'll be like Socket IO. There's other things also. Yeah, it's probably exactly like this. Bidirectional low latency comms. Yeah, close to this. Close to this. Here's the interesting thing about how Phoenix does this. Phoenix does not need a database to track all of the users. Now I'm thinking about this a bit more. So I was going to host it only on one server, which kind of is stupid. I'm a little bit interested in how the nodes synchronize the data with each other, because what they do is they do CRDT to track the user presence, rather than, like, say, for example, writing to a Redis database or something like that. I wonder if it has that information here. Presence generator. Phoenix, manage the diffs that come down the socket. It listens for state. But yeah, there's other solutions out here. There's one that I've looked at called Centrifugo. This thing, it's written in Golang. There's another one called Anycable. There's a service called Pusher, I think. And there is Ably. Ably Real-Time. So essentially, I'd be trying to learn what's behind these businesses. What's the technology behind these businesses? So they got here $2.50 for 1 million messages. That's cool. Me when there's 30 different frameworks for one thing because the dev world never has enough. So yeah, channels, messages, and connections. $1 per million minutes? That's interesting. You're not at all interested in doing leak code. Can I get into big MNCs? What's an MNC? Multinational corporation. Without doing leak code, you still have to. If you're trying to be a software engineer and you can't get through the coding round, it's going to be pretty hard. Okay, so we now have what? Nothing in this directory? What did it say? Creates a new Phoenix project. Okay, so this command, but with a dot. It already exists. Yep. Okay. All right, it's initialized the folder as a Git repo and added a whole bunch of stuff. Presence web, controllers. It's a lot of stuff. So I guess if I just run this, it'll have like some bare bones. It's already got like app.js. Some HTML pages. Okay. So now it's saying we're almost there. Change directory, do mix ecto create, configure database. I don't want one. And then phoenix.server. That looks bad because it's trying to connect to Postgres. But I don't want it to do that. Kill. Okay, yeah. Config. Config. Oh, apparently my syntax highlighting is not good. No ecto. Oh, that's Pulumi code. Okay. Let's see. TS install Elixir. Oh no. It's dead. Okay. Nothing's working. We're off to a good start. Very nice. Elixir ls check. Yeah, still no still nothing in here. No ecto. Unknown option. Ecto. That's the only thing here. Postgres, dev, test, okay. Adapter. Maybe I'll turn off this adapter. Oh, this is going to be confusing because the folder's named presence. And yeah, I have to rename this. Okay. Sockety thing. Let's call it that. Do it again. Am I done learning the local AI stuff? Yeah, kinda. I kind of hit a wall because the Jetson's not powerful enough for me to actually do a lot. So it wasn't super interesting. Can I do this? Okay, it doesn't like that. Ecto.drop. Okay. Maybe if I do the actual set. Okay, set. It's not liking anything, I guess. Create. How to get started with NeoVim. I'm not even sure what that question means. Like, it's an editor. I guess you could go pick up one of the pre-made distributions like LazyVim, for example. You could try that. It's got a lot of plugins installed that will help you get going at the start. Me personally, I made mine from scratch, my config from scratch. So I can't really use those distributions because all my keys would change and stuff like that. Am I still going to make a video about the local LLM? Not sure if I'll be able to. Maybe. Okay, Codex is going to set it up for us. Because let's say it's not super intuitive so far. I guess I should read, shouldn't I? They seem to just assume that you want a database, and I don't want a database. See what it does. Database coupling is limited to the generated scaffolding. Right. So let's say I wanted to use I wonder if I wanted to use Phoenix, but I didn't want just the boilerplate. Maybe that's what I need to do instead. Community page, IRC, Discord, security policy, books. Okay, Codex is deleting stuff. That's probably good. I noticed it didn't ask me for permission to delete stuff. Bro was on Gemini, now Codex. Yep. Well, I'm paying for it, so I might as well. I'm paying for both. Screencasts, okay, packages, Phoenix, Ecto, let's see this. Why not Claude? Because Anthropic is the worst company on earth. That's why. And their models aren't good either. They're too fucking verbose. They annoy the crap out of me. They write just paragraphs of comments. Have you guys used... Okay, look at this. Let's go to Twitter. Let's look at my poll. Okay? Whoever hasn't voted on this, go vote on it. You got 2 hours left. But isn't it funny that the lowest votes is Opus 5? Isn't that funny? The lowest is Opus 5 and the highest is Gemini. This code was written by Opus 5 with high effort. What kind of deranged machine puts type hints like this and then imports typing inside the function? Who does that? We're talking frontier intelligence, right? All of humanity's knowledge distilled into one machine. And it writes Python code like that. You can't blame the prompter because I didn't tell it to do that specifically. Now, did I? Would I ever tell it to do that? No. It decided to do that. Somehow, it thought, I'm going to write code where I put type hints. First of all, it's type hints on args and quargs, and it's any. And secondly, importing typing inside the function. What is that? I've been using Opus 5 for like, I don't know, a week? Since it came out, pretty much. Sonnet 5 sucks. Opus 5 sucks. I don't know. And people rag on Gemini. I don't know. Mix pre-commit. What's this? Allow the project's required pre-commit checks to open Mix's local file system lock socket. Bro, what does that even mean? What? Mix pre-commit. Is it a Git pre-commit? What is it? It's a tool to set up Git pre-commit hooks. Why? So it's doing test and formatting before every commit. Okay, fair enough. That seems like a preference, but okay. Gemma is the faster probable. This is the reason and cheap. Claude doesn't like small talk. It wants big problems. What harness did I use? Claude Code. Isn't Claude Code the only harness that you can use with a plan? Otherwise, you'd have to pay for API pricing. Am I correct there? Thinking outside the box, literally. You don't understand because you're not up to his level. Who? Opus's level? He's on a different plane of reality for sure. Cursor is better, but if you use Cursor with Claude, do you have to... What is this doing? Allow a short Phoenix server smoke test. Okay, sure. Theoretically, you can install plugins for OpenCode, but it's likely against terms of service. That's what I thought. You can use ACP to use Claude Plan with other tools, right? But I'm pretty sure it's against their rules. So you'd be sort of like hacking their API, reverse engineering the API in some way. Okay, so we have a Phoenix server running. Rovo is the GOAT. I haven't used it in months, so is it actually good? Okay, so we have a server. Now, my problem here is we've got all this boilerplate, don't we? Whoopsie. What do we have in here? It's horrible. I almost punched someone because of Rovo. What happened? Look at all this stuff in here. What? It's a lot of boilerplate. So Rovo, Atlassian Rovo, it just wraps other models, but then they have they're calling the other models, but it's just whatever harness. So the ACP calls Claude Code internally. Oh, really? So it is not hitting the API, it's hitting Claude Code. That's weird. How are you guys even using Rovo? Is it because you use Jira and Confluence and Rovo is inside the web app? Because there's also a Rovo that is in the command line. Learn Haskell? I think I'll learn OCaml before Haskell. But maybe. All right. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff here. We've got dependencies. Holy moly, there's a lot of dependencies already. We've got config files. We've got some assets. Does this thing compile? Why does it have a build directory? Suppose I should be asking an LLM these questions, shouldn't I? It's in the web app. Right. So you can get it to mess with your Confluence pages and stuff like that. Yeah, makes sense. Priv. What's priv? Migrations, get text, tests, and then the library. And so we've got the project here, which has, I'm a bit annoyed, like, okay, let me just go to my dot files, and I'm gonna get this thing to my Elixir language, sorry, syntax. Highlighting isn't working. Only at work. To be fair, it does mundane tasks pretty good. I had a positive experience with it before I was made redundant. It can barely complete a task. So this thing's just empty. Then we have web here, where we've got static paths, router, which is just importing stuff. So that's confusing. Channel uses Phoenix channel, okay. Controller uses also just import stuff, and then it has unquote verified routes. Where is that coming from? LSP doesn't work. Good for retrieving info, not for writing. I feel that way about most LLMs. What are you building while you're learning Elixir? What benefit does it give you? It just seems like a really good technology for massively concurrent fault-tolerant connections. So I'm interested in learning it, putting it into my tool belt. Slowly, most of it's moving to Claude via MCP to create read tickets, update status. Well, Rovo was already using Claude under the hood. How would I test what I built? I intend to start a presence server or a WebSocket server on a cloud instance and then connect to it from GitHub pages. Using Confluence as your graph database. You told me this last time, and it sounds insane every time I hear it. I think I asked you last time, like, why don't you just use text files or something? Why Confluence? It's like using Wikipedia as a graph database. It's crazy. So we've got live view, live component, a HTML function. I have no idea where these things are coming from. We're not importing them necessarily. We've got HTML helpers here. Import, view template, component. Confusing so far. What's my monthly AI bill? I'm not burning through tokens like that. So it's just whatever the subscription costs. Okay, HTML helpers is down here, which is doing weird stuff. Unquote verified routes. Route generation with the P sigil. LSP never enables Elixir LS. Tree sitter is not working. Okay, that's fine. So then if I was to restart this, go to lib, go here, I'm still not getting syntax highlighting. Hello, Rohan. What is my go-to model for blank? You forgot one word there. The essential word for the sentence. Recent removal of tree sitter. Yeah, fix it. For analyzing coding. Kind of a mix of all of them, but probably Gemini. Depends what I'm doing exactly. Phoenix presence is special for a number of reasons. It has no single point of failure, no single source of truth, relies entirely on the standard library, with no operational dependencies, and self-heals. Does that sound insane to everyone here? Like, have you... No single point of failure. And self-heals. Sounds insane to me. That's one hell of a marketing sentence right there. Too good to be true? It's Elixir. I think it's true. Theory? So the way this works, the way they're able to do this is that the nodes are clustered and they share CRDTs with each other. So it's kind of like Kubernetes in a way. What is Codex doing here? Let's look around here a little bit more. So we've got this here, application. I think that's being imported. No, it's not being imported. Mailer. What is this? Swoosh? Swoosh? Mailer. It's for sending emails. What? Okay. I don't care about that. At Atlassian, did you have to learn new languages or you just work with what you knew? It's kind of like any company. Like whatever is the most supported language, you use that. I pushed very hard. Well, I don't know if I pushed very hard, but I did try to encourage people to learn Rust. And we did run some Rust code in my team. But we had Java, Golang, Python, and JavaScript, basically. My team mostly worked with Python. Allow NeoVim to download and compile the Elixir tree sitter passes into your local directory. Yeah, fine. Can we have a description of the technology that I might be working on? we're trying to get an Elixir server, which is I'm going to deploy to a cloud instance, and then I'm going to connect my blog to it and make funny things happen. The worst language will be Java. Yes, Java is always the worst language. Although I don't really know Java, so I'm not really sure. You know, I've just heard bad things about it. Our context is already in Confluent Spaces. When's the Valheim community server happening? That could be good. Maybe I should host a little instance for Valheim. I'll look into that. I don't know what kind of requirements it needs in terms of like CPU and all that. Java plus Spring Boot is really cool. Why is it really cool? Can you explain? Why Elixir? Just something I want to learn and get comfortable with. It seems to have a unique utility. Public static void main string list args, the OG way to write code. Yeah. I've never understood any of that. It's like, okay, so it's a public function. I don't know what static refers to. Void means it doesn't return anything. The name is main, and it accepts a list of strings as arguments. Wouldn't a main function not accept any arguments because it's main? Or is the string list the command line arguments? You only heard of it for its concurrency model. Elixir? Yeah. So they have these lightweight threads or something called processes, confusingly enough. Loki, which video are you referring to? Which video did you like? Okay, let's see if we can look at... Okay, we have colors now. Thank goodness. What build did I go in the latest PoE 1 league? So I started with a cold damage over time witch occultist, and then I died. I brutally died. I was playing hardcore. It's cool because if you work at a mostly simple CRUD page, it does most of the job for you. We can pass file and text as arguments while running the Java file. That's why Java uses arguments in main. Favorite programming language is English. What is... okay, so sockety thing. Present server will be connected to by some JavaScript on my neighbor's blog. Display people currently viewing. Maybe let them move their cursors around, see each other. I resurrected? Oh, in Path of Exile? No. Wait, did I make another one? Maybe I made one in softcore. I can't remember. Oh yeah, I don't know what build to run actually. So I was kind of thinking about that. I was thinking maybe like Fireball Ignite Proliferation or something like that. Could be cool. Do I prefer remote working or office? I prefer remote, but office is okay. Understood. The repo is clean without a database. The intended architecture should be channel socket, one topic per page. Tracks each connected viewer. Cursor movement is sent as temporary channel events, since frequent presence updates would create unnecessary synchronization work. Oh, interesting. Does that mean it's not really going to be high resolution? Cursor coordinates are normalized to the page or viewport and throttled in the browser. Okay. Origin checks allow only your GitHub pages. That's fine. Server validates topic names. Small bundle JavaScript. Client on the blog handles reconnection. Viewer presence only. Once joins, leaves, reconnects in multiple tabs behave correctly. Cursor sharing can be layered. That sounds like a decent plan. Let me see this for a sec. GitHub link of my .files repo. That should be on my blog somewhere. It's like down here. My .files. Right there. Can I share my .env? No. I don't even use that, to be honest. What did I miss? Can I make a video on how I got so good? I kind of did that. I already did that. I made a video called From Zero to Senior. This one here. Tips for juniors, interns, and hopefuls. Basically goes over what I did to learn stuff. And I wouldn't even say I'm so good. What skills do I need in order to get interviews jobs at companies like Atlassian? These days, I'm not sure. What would I advise new grad for tech interviews? A new grad, you got to have projects that you can show, and you've got to be able to pass the coding part of the interview. So you've got to practice data structures and algorithms. You've been remote a decade. Finally, the go-to language. Yes, Phoenix needs mirror nodes to achieve this single point of failure. I would imagine so. I imagine you'd need at least 3. 2 would not be sufficient because you can have split brain with 2 nodes, whereas 3, I guess it's less likely. The more nodes you have, the less chance of split brain, but also the more synchronization has to happen. Actually, that's an interesting question to ask. Let's say if I was to set up a web app with Phoenix and Elixir as the backend, and I've got presence, and the nodes are clustered, and they're sharing CRDTs with each other to synchronize state, what happens when that cluster has 100 nodes in it? Does that mean that all of the nodes are gossiping with each other excessively, and it's going to blow up my network. Do I play Doom? I grew up playing Doom. I'm not currently using an extension for dark mode. So straight out of the box, pushing standard Phoenix presence setup to 100 nodes will run into significant scaling bottlenecks. But it's not because of the gossip. The crash will be because because of network topology and CPU-bound state merges. Okay. So propagating the messages is fine, but I guess applying each state over the top is can run into, I guess you could get into a situation where you're never able to catch up or something like that. Full mesh at 100 nodes, that's 5,000 connections. Heartbeats are small. Node monitoring consumes CPU. Standard Erlang distributions start hitting performance around 60 to 100 nodes unless tuned. The auto scaling like the old Gelastic Pass platform. Gelastic? Never heard of Gelastic. Where are you going to host the backend? The backend I'm going to host on a cloud instance. What's the point of learning multiple programming languages or frameworks? That's a good question, but asking it like when AI can generate code is distasteful. The reason why you would learn different languages is because it changes how you think. It changes how you think about problems. It gives you different tools. So you might come across a problem and you've got an agent and you ask it to solve the problem and it does it in JavaScript. And then that turns out to be the wrong choice. How do you know, like, you might think, oh, Rust seems cool, but then maybe it's the wrong choice. So how do you know what you're doing? You have to learn. Phoenix presence bottleneck, Delta CODT merges. It uses state-based Delta CODTs. The nodes broadcast deltas makes sense. High churn, large metadata. Single presence change on node A must be broadcasted to the other 99. So if 1,000 people join and leave per second, it's 99,000 delta messages. That's crazy. Scale up, not out. Aha. Well, that sort of avoids the problem, doesn't it? So instead of 100 nodes, you run 10 nodes. Yeah. Ten nodes with 40 CPUs. Right. Offloading the state. Okay, so you so you can use, but then that just ruins the no single point of failure part of this, doesn't it? Gelastic was the first scaling platform. I've never heard of them. Huh. Okay. Cool. So you can offload to Redis, I suppose. Partition the cluster. Disable full mesh. Group nodes into regional or functional subclusters. Right. Right. Okay. Well then. Current app has PubSub already configured. It doesn't contain presence. Guide me through the process so that I can learn instead of you building everything. Yeah, it's crazy how much boilerplate there was. What did it create? This thing, the mix command that I wrote, created a 500 line agents MD. Codex didn't make that. So should we writing code on our own or let AI to write it for us? Taking front-end tasks, for example, I can definitely design it, but coding it by hand takes a lot of time. So that's an interesting question as well. Let's say you design the visual, like let's say you open Photoshop or something like that, and you design what you think the app should look like. There's certain elements on the page where you can't necessarily describe them unless you know the words to describe them. So I still think there's parts of front end that need to be learned before you can actually make good decisions there. If you let AI write everything, it's going to do all kinds of bad practices. Like everything's going to have inline styles, and you're going to have, like, let's say you're using React, you're going to have a million states and a million refs and a million hooks, and it's going to be a big spaghetti. Looking at the thumbnail, he clearly took a bath. It's about harness again. I'm pretty sure that all these wrappers, guardrails, and so on matter. What you push, you prompt. Every model is good, but all about the harness. I don't know. In the small experience I had making the Jetson work with effectively what was my own harness, it seems like we're very, very far away from this all being a solved problem. Because on the one hand, you have this model, and then you give it tools, and you give it system prompts and skills and all this stuff to like anchor it in a particular direction, I suppose. But yeah, it's very, very far from being solved, I think. Okay, so start the presence under the application supervisor. Add a socket, add a channel, track viewers when they join, write a tiny browser client, cursor messages. We're not up to that yet. Add the presence process. So if we go lib sockety thing web presence .x def module. How much completion do we have here? Okay, we have a little bit of completion. Do end. Okay, use Phoenix presence, makes sense. And then we're passing it, I think this is arguments. So OTP app is an argument, and we're passing in sockety thing. Is that what this is? Say I get rid of the comma. No information available. Let's see, what does this have? Provides present tracking to process and channels. My app, PubSub server. Provide the OTP app which holds your configuration as well as pub sub server. Okay, yeah, these are arguments. Named arguments. Reminds me a little bit of OCaml, kind of. Pub sub. I don't think I have that defined just yet, do I? But the LSP is not giving me any errors or any complaints. Career question. I know JavaScript, React, Docker, Linux, and sysadmin. If I had to pick a language for backend, Golang. Choose Golang. You don't know when AI writes a code you understand, but I don't know how we write code while using AI only. I don't think anyone should only use AI. I think that's a fantasy at the moment. Okay, the module gives Phoenix distributed presence tracking. It watches processes representing connected clients and publishes changes through that. Okay. Application. And we want to add sockety thing presence after pub sub. Right. So this is, okay, we already have the pub sub. What is this here exactly? So we've got an application, use application, and then we're defining these methods. They've been defined on this module. Okay, start, which has children, and then the children are passed into a supervisor. Oh, okay. So we want to do sockety thing web.presence. Why does it have... Oh, no, we're good. I wonder if there's a formatter for Elixir. Jokes aside, have I been looking for a job right now? What's my scope? I'm actually working for a company, but it's been on the down low. We'll see how things go there. Okay, and then, oh, we do have mix format. Did anything change? Nothing changed. And then let's run mix compile. What's it say? Generated 2 files. Compiled 2 files. Generated sockety thing app. And then IEX server. Inside IEX, check that the process exists. Okay, we have a PID. That's cool. This is interesting. Cool, it's running. I see the PID. What's Daisy UI? Why is it saying Tailwind CSS? Is there Tailwind in this repo? Tailwind. There is. Okay. I probably should have learned a little bit about Elixir before just trying to make a server in it, I suppose. I'm going to grab some water. All right. Order has been acquired. What's the logic between keeping the job on the down low? I don't know, just minimizing chaos, I suppose, if that makes any sense. Okay, don't care about Ecto. Megacorp or startup? More startup, yeah. Phoenix Live View. I'm wondering about this. Like, this seems to be their pride and joy. Phoenix Live View. Real-time user experiences with server-rendered HTML. They're processes that receive events, update their state, and render updates to a page as diffs. So it's kind of like React. Don't forget to book annual leave holiday on GTA 6 release day. I won't be playing that. I'm not interested in GTA. Live view state is nothing more than functional and immutable Elixir data structures. The events are either app messages or sent by the client browser. It's first rendered statically. Persistent connection is then established between the client and server. That's kind of cool. Yeah, sounds like React, doesn't it? Do game servers and networking interest you? Yes. Game servers and networking does interest me. Example here, okay. So we've got this Thermostat Live app with render, mount, and handle event, where we have the current temperature, which has a button and a plus, which is got Phoenix Click. Cool, cool, cool. Wow, this is quite a high-level framework. How to find balance between doing things for work and learning new stuff. Just do all the new stuff outside of work hours. But to be fair, a lot of people do learn stuff in their work hours often by trying to introduce the stuff that is maybe not necessary. You know, we've all heard we're all aware of resume driven development. I think part of that is implementing something in an attempt to learn it as well. That happens at work. But then if you really can't do that, or if it's causing too much friction, then you have to do that outside of work. HTML over the wire is so much better. Is Phoenix using? I've got to ask. I've got to ask about this. Is this live view? So Phoenix Live View has parts of the HTML DOM like Phoenix Click, which sends events and causes a diff to be produced to update the page. Does that use JavaScript, or how else does it update the page partially? Should you choose Axum or Actix for Rust backend? You should choose Axum. Don't I think that doing a lot of work outside of work will eventually lead to burning out? No, I don't think so, because I think you burn out when you have involuntary stress placed upon you. Like you have to do something and you don't want to do it. I think that's what creates burnout. So if you are voluntarily learning something that is challenging outside of work, I don't think it contributes to the burnout. I think it's the stuff that you don't want to do, which contributes to burnout. Okay, so live view does rely on JavaScript on the client side. Yeah. Isn't it such a shame that the only way that we can make the a front end reactive is through JavaScript? Like, no one else on this planet has decided to create a browser with like support for something nicer. I guess WASM is kind of something, but WASM is still itself is still compiled down to JavaScript, but it doesn't matter. Codex is prompting me for the next step. Step 2, add the channel socket, where it is saying to create inside lib. Let me close this. Inside lib sockety web channel. So make a new directory and make user socket. And then inside here, we're going to define a new module which uses Phoenix socket. Phoenix socket. You need to, unfortunately, you need to agree with me. Probably the frustration is from work mostly. What kind of tech stack do you work on at work, and why is it not what you want? Socket implementation that multiplexes messages over channels. Multiplexes messages over channels. Okay, so you got one channel, many messages, or something like that. When did I start learning Elixir? Today. 1 hour ago. Phoenix socket is used as a module for establishing a connection between client server and state is stored inside a struct. Where is the struct? Types TO T. Is this the struct? Huh? We got callbacks, functions, and types. Oh yeah, this is it. Literally got the Elixir in Action book today. Cool. What kind of stuff that? Let's see. I want to see the table of contents if I can. Oh, is it on here for free? Oh, it is. Contents. Erlang, Elixir. This looks good. Interactive shell, IEX. Oh, cool, cool. Modules, functions, visibility, imports, type system, operators. That'll be good to know. Understanding the runtime, macros. I didn't know that there were macros. Okay. Equality operators. What else? Oh, it's only like one page to explain the operators? Many operators are functions. It's worth noting that many operators in Elixir are actually functions. Okay. Oh. Super ugly syntax there, but that's fine. It's one of the highest rated books, apparently. The author is well known in the community. Cool. No one would ever want to write this kind of code. But operator functions have a benefit when turned into anonymous functions. Oh. For example, you can create a two-arity lambda. What? Two-arity? What does that even mean? That sums two numbers by calling this or the shorter and plus /2. What the hell does that mean? Two-arity. Two-arity lambda. Two arguments. Two input parameters. Right. Never heard of that. Never heard of that. Arity. The word arity comes from the suffix "ari" from unary, binary, and ternary, combined with the abstract noun suffix "ity." It's a modern linguistic creation. Oh, so it was coined around 1968. Wow. The number of arguments, of course, because computers. Meaning the number of arguments or operands a function takes. Adicity? Valency. The same core meaning of argument count. Similar synonym formed using the Greek-based suffix adicity and valency. Use valency in a sentence. Data engineering, but actually I was moved to a team where I'm the only one technical, so most of the time I need to spend on explaining basics repeatedly to business people rather than building things. Damn, why do they need it explained? Why don't they just let you do it? The verb give has a valency of 3 because it requires... Oh. Plus, no one's really interested in picking up stuff that I have built. Zero adoption. That makes me wonder if you've built something and people are not adopting it in this professional setting, does that mean you built something and the problem it was solving was maybe not as clear or necessary? Valency or valence is used in distributed computing to describe the configuration of system states during consensus algorithms, representing the set of possible final decision values. It's used interchangeably with arity in graph theory and data structures to describe the number of connections a specific node or vertex possesses. Okay. Arity is used for functions, operators, and relations. Valency is used for states, nodes, and configs. So let's say you had a Rust enum with 4 variants. What's the valency? Is it 4? Or is it 16? It's 4. It represents a type that can evaluate to 4. Valency versus arity measures the choices. Arity measures the variant or the data payload. Valency versus cardinality. This is one hell of a tangent I'm on. Valency versus cardinality defines the number of variants. Doesn't. But it's not cardinality. The total number of possible data values. Right. Okay. I still don't really understand. Okay, I understand arity. Arity makes sense. It's pretty straightforward. don't quite understand well, in relation to node graphs, valency makes sense. Like you have one node and it has 3 connections. Its valency is 3. Is that right? Okay. So it's like just an alternate word for the number of connections something has. Seems a bit pompous. I'm not going to lie. It's nice to be able to use precise language, but I don't see the utility of that word in particular. I don't think, I feel like it doesn't give. Oh, okay. Degree? Degree and valency are synonyms. Bruh. That's even more confusing. Let's see. Do you agree that usage of the word valency is pompous? Simpler words like degree, count, or choices. Right. Degree, maybe not so much, but count or choices or connections. Where it is precise in pure mathematics and science. Experts use it because the system state isn't a degree or a count, it's a cloud of potential future realities. Bivalent or univalent. In chemistry, valence is a literal name of the electron shell, so valency is the most direct way to describe bonding power. So basically, it's irrelevant for me. That's what I'm understanding. You think it's overcomplicating it? I'm kind of asking it to really dig in, though. For some reason, all I can correlate valency with is, oh, covalent bonds. Oh, wait, I know something about this. Chemical links formed when non-metal atoms share pairs of electrons. Covalent bonds. Do fatty acids have covalent bonds when unsaturated? I'm pretty sure the answer to this is yes. They do. That is the only place that I know this. Fatty acids are chains of carbons, and the unsaturated ones have covalent bonds, either single or double, or maybe I think more. It can have more even. And the bonds is where oxygen can attach. Yeah, I know a little bit. Is this high school chemistry? I stopped high school at year 10, so I don't know. Anyway, back to Elixir. Got nerd sniped by this book, huh? By this damn section here. 2 arity lambda. Like, why you gotta be so fancy? Just say lambda with 2 arguments. I did want to see the rest of the contents though. Pattern matching, cool. Conditionals, loops, yeah, whatever. Abstractions, hierarchical data, okay. Polymorphism, interesting. Concurrency with Beam. This book looks really good. Yeah, I should read this. I'm gonna keep it linked. Pattern matching, match operator. It's just the equal sign? It is. Okay. You have a polymorphic project. Polymorphic canvas. What does that mean? Hey, did you send me something on LinkedIn the other day? You did. I recognize. I took a brief look. I need to take a closer look though. Did you also messaged me on Discord, right? Oh no, you haven't messaged me on Discord. Or did you? Okay. Now, okay, so I was also looking at this Phoenix socket thing. We have this struct which holds the state. We have an atom, which is a basic type. An atom. I think this means it's like a symbol. It's just a symbol, right? Kind of like a string in a way, but not not a string really. Yeah. Term. Handler. Okay. Cool. Cool. So in here, we're gonna make this user socket, sockety thing, web user socket, and we're gonna do take in this library. What's this impl true thing? Sockety thing, yeah. At impl true. At impl. What is that? It tells the compiler that a function below it implements a behavior and will thus check so. It automatically marks the function as doc false. It's a module attribute used to declare that a function implements a callback from a behavior. Okay. If this is anything like the Kubernetes, is he learning Elixir by building a project? Yes. How else am I going to learn it? Reading books? Viewer ID 12? Oh, that's the length. Pipe crypto strong rand bytes. And then another pipey thing. So let me try to understand this actually. We're creating a variable here where we, this is called currying, right? Where we're taking 12, passing it to this as the first argument, and then passing that as the first argument to this URL encoding. And that's what viewer ID is. That makes sense. And then we're returning a symbol and a sign. I don't know what this does. With another symbol, or it's like a reference? No. Yeah. Yeah, this is weird. User socket connect, implement behavior, Phoenix socket, behavior defined. I've got this spec here where we are taking in params, which is a map, and then T, and then connect info, which is another map. and giving back OK, which is a type. OK, and then type. Okay. All right. Assign socket user ID, verified user ID. Sure. How is the job market in AU? Depends. I guess it depends where you're trying to get hired. You'd be interested to see what I think of this language that you came up with AI. Sure. If you don't get your hands dirty with that framework, there is no other way to learn. More geared towards agentic workflows. Otherwise, it's like reading a fairy tale. Yeah. I believe that the only way to learn is to make mistakes. And I think by setting this up, I might run into some. Who knows? I hope so. ID socket do viewer socket hash brace. Okay, so then this thing here that we're passing, does that mean if I rename this, then it needs to be renamed down here? Your tailscale network is down. Can you tell me what tailscale is? Why would I use tailscale? Because I've heard lots of people talking about it. Connect /3. What does that mean? /3. Runs once the browser establishes a socket connection. Server generates an unpredictable ID for that connection. Cool. Stores it on the socket so every channel joined can access it. Gives Phoenix a topic through which the specific socket can later be disconnected. Okay. It's a secure subnet, basically a reverse proxy. Important question, why am I learning Elixir? Why not? Oh, you're actually asking like what's the actual reason? So I am actually working at a company right now, and something came up where they needed WebSockets and this feature of presence, user presence on a page. And I was considering all the options, and there are some good off-the-shelf options that you just kind of deploy as a container or something like that, and it works out of the box. But then I found that Elixir has this library that does it out of the box kind of as well. And so I became interested. You have an old laptop you threw Ubuntu on, and you've been gung-ho about encrypting your internet traffic. Oh, okay. Okay, so now each browser tab is considered a separate viewer. Cool. Right. So if I wanted it to not be considered a separate each tab, like let's say I had authenticated users, then probably the params or something would have to contain information about the user and their session. Isn't Elixir super fast? I don't think it's fast in single-threaded performance, but it is very, very good at concurrency. That's the appeal of Elixir. Next, register the socket in lib sockety-thing-web endpoint. What have we got in here? 50 lines. We've got some pages here. Phoenix live reload socket slash. Is this a secret? This here? The session will be stored in the cookie and signed. That means its contents can be read and not tampered with. Okay. If I had to tell you a starting point to get your head around this stuff, like fundamentally, which stuff? What I'm doing right now? Networking and coding? Those are two very different paths. Networking, you should pick up like Cisco study guides, pretty much, and try to work towards a certification. Like, I think the CCNA is like the entry point to networking certification. I should probably do this, to be honest. That's if you want to learn networking. But then coding, it's kind of like pick your path, really. The way I personally learned coding was I went to Code Academy. And I learned Python that way. But they got a few here. Yeah. But it's basically, yeah. Free, let's see. There's a free one. Yeah, there's heaps. There's heaps in here. Heaps. This is all free. You know? That's for coding. And networking, yeah, I've never formally studied networking. I've just picked it up as I've gone along. Wondering if there's a language that translates to others that would help you understand the process. Like how when you cook cookies, you put your dry ingredients first. Well, that's the thing with programming is that, yeah, it's interesting because where you start in programming will affect you. I mean, I'm a big believer in neuroplasticity, that you can forget things and learn new things until you die. But it is true that if you start learning programming by learning something in particular, like Python, then your understanding and comprehension of computers and programming will be heavily influenced by the language that you start in. So someone that starts in C, it's harder. Arguably, it's harder. But they'll have a different understanding of how things work. Whereas if you start with Python, you are interacting with the computer at you're very detached from how the computer is actually working. So it actually takes you longer. Here's the crazy thing. It takes you longer to learn Python than it does to learn C. But you can be productive in Python sooner than you can in C. You can use Python and not really understand what you're doing. That's kind of what it enables you to do, all this kind of dynamic stuff. But at some point, you will have to learn, like, oh, okay, I've written this program and it's slow. How do I fix it? So you have to start understanding at that point. And because you've started at this high level and you have to dig deeper rather than starting at the foundation and building up, I don't know, it's a different sort of pain, I guess. You started in Visual Basic and went to C++. Yeah, that sounds crazy. But at least like you got a foot in the door first and then you learned something more serious. But it would have been hard. You started learning Go, but you also started from C. Starting with C and C++ helped me understand more about the computer low level, but it took more time to understand than Python. There is more to understand if you start at C. But yeah, I kind of see it like if you start at Python, you're kind of just reversing that journey. Like maybe you never have to deal with some of the things that you'd have to deal with in C. But the more serious your program gets, at some point you have to start learning like what is Python actually really doing. It's hard for me to wrap my head around the fact that writing Hello World is a program. Your brain can't pick one lane. One day I'm trying Rust, one day I'm trying Python. Maybe the problem is that you are switching too often. You need to just stick with one. Kind of got soft laid off. I was thinking of running through NAND to Tetris plus some low level stuff just for fun. Sure. What's NAND to Tetris? Okay, so it's saying to put the route for the socket above here. So it should be the very first thing. Sockety thing web user socket we want. Web socket is true. And long pole is false. What are these in here? These variables? No. Is this being consumed by some macro system? Why is the context switching so prominent in programming? I notice in myself too. I think it's everywhere. Just maybe it has more of an impact in programming and so it's more prominent, but everyone everywhere is context switching way too much. Everyone's distracted. Why not this in Twitch? Funny story, I actually tried to stream to YouTube and Twitch today, but it didn't work. I set up my own RTMP proxy and it didn't work, unfortunately. I'll try to get it working for next time. My plan is to stream to YouTube, Twitch, and on Twitter as well. From sockety thing, gzip, not code reloading, only sockety thing, make brain hurt good. Where is it saying this? This? So it's doing, this is the route, then I don't know why it's saying from. It's compressed if it's not reloading. Static paths. So this is like, what's this? Assets, fonts, images, and blah, 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 blah. Raise on missing only if the code is reloading. Oh, that's cool. Wow. Fancy. It'd be great when sharing a streaming link in Discord notification. Yes, that should have popped up. But yeah, it's supposed to have the links here, but I guess because it failed, it didn't post the links. So I've got to go and dig through the logs and see what went wrong. Static, I think in this context, static means static assets. Do you guys like my Discord bot? It's called Frederick. You like Frederick here? He's a terrorist. I should put it in the description of my YouTube video. Yeah. Freddy? Yeah, you can call him Freddy. But so basically, the RTMP proxy that I set up, how I want it to work is that when I start streaming in OBS, it's going to connect to the proxy. I can actually show you a bit of the code. The code's public, so it's fine. We've got the handler here. So when OBS connects to this, it's got these hooks so that on publish, it has a notification dispatcher here, which is sending the message to Discord, and Frederick accepts the the message and does the notification. It's mind-boggling how much can be done with code. Yeah, it's crazy. So what I was gonna do was like, yeah, connect to the proxy. It's gonna stream to all the platforms and whatever. It's gonna handle these hooks here, and maybe there's like other stuff that I could do with it. I don't know. Let me see. We don't have any secrets. No secrets, no secrets, no secrets. Yeah, no secrets. All right. This is the dashboard for the RTMP proxy that I made. And I wanted it to you know, whatever. But let's say I can test Frederick from here, from the notifications box. And then I've got my different streams here. Oh, wait. Was it actually working, but then I didn't have YouTube enabled or something? Now see, if let's say I disable these and then I do a test stream. I'll go to my Twitch dashboard, right? Test 15-second stream. Frederick sent the message, which I'm going to go delete. And then this should show a little 15-second clip. Get out of here, Frederick, you silly boy. Is it sending a stream to Twitch? I think no. So it's completely busted. Something's gone wrong. Sorry for the notification. Yeah, it's meant to show up here, but there must be something wrong. So I'll have to fix that off stream. But my plan is to have it so that this is going to show my chat from all different sources. So YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. And also I'm going to be able to send the notification when it goes live and do all that stuff. So that'll be good. That will be good. You don't want a job, you want to be acquired. That's the smart thing to do. That is the smart thing to do. Getting acquired is the goal. Acquire these nuts. That's what I will say to my investors. Acquire these nuts. Okay, so apparently mix compile, and then let's do run the server. And then can we go localhost 4000, right? And then /live. No route, forget live. Really? What's your approach when doing a programming project in a concept you don't know? Example, networking. Do you suggest I read on sockets first? Socket API. What do you mean? Networking is really broad. Like, what specifically in networking is your project about? So the Phoenix JavaScript client will eventually connect using that new socket to there. It automatically expands that to the actual WebSocket transport path. Cool. Can I wait, make okay, I set it up. Do I need a small JavaScript file to test the WS? Your horizons are already so broad, I don't know what direction to go in. That's the problem, is that you have no focus. You got to pick one thing and go all in. Since app.js already imports socket, the easiest test is through the existing Phoenix page. Let's add a minimal channel first. So we test both the WebSocket connection and a topic join. So we're going to go to lib, sockety thing web. We've got channels and then the presence channel. Okay, presence channel. Create a module called presence channel. With whoopsie. Use sockety thing web channel. I don't understand that line, for example. Is that we're putting not sure. Join presence. Is this concatenation? Page payload socket when page is not equal to blank. We're going to do socket equals assign socket page and then return OK viewer ID, which is socket.assigns.viewer ID socket. So we're returning three things here. Is this a map? I think this is a map being constructed. Is it? Yeah, it is. I don't mind the syntax so far. I don't mind it. Join topic payload socket do error. Oh, okay. So we're doing function overloading. So if the topic is presence with a page name, then we give it a socket. Otherwise, we give it back an error. And so this little OK and error thing, these are atoms, and they are just not strings. They're just a name. And whatever's calling this is expecting an atom with that name. That's kind of interesting. That line is effectively calling the using macro on the sockety thing web module and passing channel as the argument. The using macro on sockety thing web. Okay, let me see this. Okay, my LSP is not bringing me there, so I'm going to go back up here. Router, channel, controller, live view, helpers, verified routes, using. Apply, module, using which. Okay. When is atom? So So if I tried calling this without an atom, it would just fail. What's going on here? Need deep knowledge even with AI. As a programmer, your role is to give AI good context. Yeah, I would agree with that. Okay, so so this is just the name, then it's running apply. Where's apply coming from? Apply is a built-in. Apply and then module. Kernel.apply. Invokes the given function from module within the list of the arguments. With the list of arguments args. The module function names. Okay. Okay. So when something else does use and then the thing, it's looking it up through this system somehow. Applies like call in JavaScript, where you specify the module function name. That's interesting that it's like part of the syntax. I suppose that gives you that gives you some kind of control. I can imagine it's used for something. Oh, and this is a macro too. Oh. This is a macro. Okay. I'm interested to see if there's like macro expansion so I can understand what's going on there. So that was that. We had user socket presence to say firing up presence. Module names are also atoms. Example Phoenix controller is also an atom. Web channels, presence, got those two, and then we need to register channel, topic pattern, presence, presence channel, and then we're going to edit some JS. What do we actually have in here? We've got 80 lines of JavaScript in here. And it has a live socket, event listeners for page loading, connection. All right. And let's say const presence socket is a new socket. Yeah. What did I do? Okay. Connect channel. Oh. what was the second argument? We had topic and then something else. I'm not getting involved in the argument that is currently occurring in this chat. Presence channel receive. Okay. Okay, these are handlers. Timeout. Okay. Add JavaScript test connection. Then we can open our web tools here. Go to the console. Maybe get rid of this junk. Refresh. Oh, we're not running it, of course. IEX. Yeah. All right. You want to argue? For example, I build HPC tooling for Kubernetes and C++. Pure static allocation tooling, no garbage collection like a... That's cool. Sounds interesting. Stop arguing and start kissing each other instead. All right. Somehow it like it connected, but it was after a long delay, wasn't it? Am I wrong? Did right. Now let's say if I add if I duplicate the tab and then I split it, does that mean okay, someone else? Yeah, it's showing the other tab connecting. Connected to sockety thing, transport WebSocket, parameters, VSN 2.0, joined, parameters, nothing. So like, yeah, it doesn't say anything about the other connection. It just says there is a connection. Okay. That's cool. So then joined object viewer, but then when someone else joins, it just says get slash. But then if I go to, is there another page that I can go to? Slash live. It doesn't like this page. What games do I play? That is on my blog. It's right here. It's semi up to date. Actually, on the last stream, I played a little bit of Factorio. But I also like these games quite a lot. I've played Noita on stream. Yeah. Okay, so I opened two tabs. I saw them both connect. I saw the connection message on the other tab when the other, A new tab joined. You're building HPC Kubernetes connectivity toolkit for a company for 100K US. That's cool. How'd you land that contract? And what are their requirements exactly? Connectivity toolkit for Kubernetes. Like, what extra connectivity are you adding that a HPC would need over, say, a regular deployment? One distinction: a raw WebSocket connection is not announced. The next step, presence, is what explicitly synchronizes the viewer list. If you saw activity in the first tab, it may have been Phoenix's development tooling on an event you already added. Tracking viewers with presence. Update the successful join clause. By the way, if I change, I wonder if I change the this code here, like let's say does it refresh? Does it break my site? I wonder. Refuse join. It does. It does. So if I then fix this up and then I refresh, they can join again. That's cool. Nice developer experience. For example, let's see. Do I ever use an LLM to fix my grammar or be more formal or technical when sending an email to your investors? My investors. B. Diddy gifting out 10 memberships. Thank you. 10? Is it 10? Yes. 10 memberships. Alex, you missed the membership somehow. What's going on here? How many viewers we got right now? Oh, 65. Okay. So those that receive memberships, you can now spam emojis with fun little I think I've got like 13 different emojis. Do I have standard times I start my live stream? I try to start somewhere between 8 and 10 my time, I guess. 8 and 10 p.m. I'm still figuring out exactly when the best time to stream is. Because, for example, Americans probably aren't really awake until maybe right now or an hour from now. I hope I see some retention. Thanks, mate. It's okay if I don't have retention either way. I will continue streaming. I am committed to continuing making videos and stuff. Half of the reason why I'm doing this is like documentation, like, you know, keeping a record of learning and writing and all that. Am I full-time on YouTube? No. No, I've got other stuff keeping me pretty occupied. But I'm trying to put out stuff as often as I can, which actually it turns out to be kind of hard. You're working right now, listening in the background? That's fine. That's cool. I know from your watches you don't need YouTube. That's true. Yeah. I live very comfortably. So, you know, I could probably use some discomfort. But if God is listening, please don't give me discomfort. Do I tweet when I start my streams? No, I don't tweet specifically, but I could set that up. Once I get my multi-streaming happening, I probably can. I don't know. Is there like Twitter webhooks? Let's see the Twitter API. I can post through the API, right? Posts. Single post. No, that's post lookups. Manage posts. Can I send a webhook to make a tweet? That's what I need to know. Saying that with the FTX shirt is extra funny. Do I have a Discord? Yeah. Check my channel for that. It's in my links. The link should never expire now. I fixed it. But yeah. Curious of your learning path or the way senior learns things. So that's why I ask a lot about the time you start. Oh, okay. Well, these will be uploaded to YouTube anyway, so you can always check them back. But I would consider me learning on stream is incredibly slow. It's not very efficient. Maybe I could do a video where I just record how I do things when I'm not responding to chat messages. Let's see. Flow automation. Yes, you can send a webhook to make a tweet. Oh, so I need an intermediary. Bullshit. Twitter crates. Let's see. Rig Twitter, Rust library, scraper. I don't want that. Tweety RS. Post and edit tweets. All right, cool. So I should be able to send up a tweet when I go live if I want to do that. This was last updated last year in March. Okay. Okay. So it's saying here, step 3, we want to track users with presence. You'd be interested in that type of video. Recently graduated and still feel you haven't figured out how to learn things. I wonder where I sit on the efficiency curve, whether I'm like actually, good at learning. It's probably a good idea for me to just upload it because someone might come along and say that I'm doing it wrong, which totally welcome anyone to give me that feedback. That'd be great, actually. Now you can bother me with questions. That is why the chat is here. Tweeting when you go live isn't that optimal. Yeah, I tend to agree. Maybe everyone should give me their mobile numbers. I'll SMS you when I go live. I can be trusted with your SMS. Okay, update the successful join. So we want send self after join. What does that do? Why after join? We let the join finish before pushing the initial presence state. Okay. Self. So self is going to be the channel? You think on the internet, no matter what you upload, someone is going to tell you that I'm doing it wrong. 100%. Yeah. Can't learn much in the presence of other people. I don't know what happens, but to properly learn something, I have to do it myself. Yeah, I think deep research you need to do by yourself, but then there is stuff like mentor type relationships or collaborative relationships where you can learn a lot that way too. You don't think I can handle the fees? That's true. That's true, actually. Self is your own process's PID. Oh, oh, okay. Fax machine, huh? And then add this callback to the same channel module. So this is a new thingy we're adding. Handle info after join the atom. Do now we're doing what? Pattern matching. So if it's okay, we've got an ignored presence reference. And we are going to do sockety thing web presence track socket assigns. So we've got the viewer ID and then a map with some metadata. Okay. Why does this accept okay, time unit? So we're going to get like epoch time, something like that. Time since epoch or something like that. And then below this, we are going to push socket present state list socket. Presence list. Callback list topic returns presences for a topic. Okay. And then finally we return no reply atom and the socket. Format. And then we need to update the JavaScript. Update the browser client. App.js, where we're importing socket here, but we also need to import presence. Const presence is new presence after the channel with the presence channel. Oh, whoops. This probably needs to go down here. Self is the current Elixir process. Every process has a message box. Handle info is the callback for messages that fall through the cracks that don't get handled. Every process has a message box. And handle info is the callback for messages. Is that it's an Elixir thing or a Phoenix library thing? Phoenix presence types. Oh. Gen server behavior. Gen server. While using Gen server, we only need to write callbacks. Messages that don't come from call or cast are handled by handle info. It can also be used to handle monitor down messages. Elixir Gen server. A gen server is a process like any other Elixir process. Gen server behavior module used to write concurrent and stateful processes. Handles synchronous calls, asynchronous casts, and regular system messages. Do I think learning Vim motions is worth it nowadays? It depends how you like to work. I don't want to click on everything. In fact, I use my mouse too much as it is. I really should build up some muscle memory around, like I could tile my windows, for example. I don't have that habit. Gen server is part of this Elixir standard library. It comes pre-installed. You access it, blah, blah, blah. It leverages the underlying Erlang gen server. Okay. Gen server behavior. Where are we? Gen server. A behavior module for implementing the server of a client-server relation. It's a process like any other. The advantage of using a generic server process is that it will have a standard set of interface functions. Right. And handle info being one of those. Right. Okay. It's a big part of the OTP functionality. Gotcha. One second. My wife brought me some tea, but it was scalding hot and burnt my fingers. So I will drink my water for now. Vim isn't worth it nowadays. Nah, that's an L. That's an L right there. Vim is always worth it. I mean, so saying it's like worth or not worth, it implies difficulty, which is not really true. Vim is not that hard to learn. And exactly as Patrick says, use Vim because you like it. I like the terminal. I don't care about people who think that the terminal is the wrong interface. I don't care. I like it. Share with the chat what kind of tea. Let me see. Oh, it smells really good. I think it's apple and cinnamon. It smells delicious. Using 200 meg of RAM instead of 8 gig. Yeah. Oh, by the way, the new machine that I bought, I only have 32 gigs of RAM. Apparently, that's not enough. What do people think about that? Do I need more? Nobody knows what the future holds. Currently, do you think software engineering is still worth pursuing? Yes. It depends on your reasons for pursuing it. If you are pursuing it just for money, then no. If you're pursuing it because you like it, then yes. True, 32 gig is the bare minimum. 64 gig is best. I never saw anyone saying I use Claude, by the way, but we can say I use Vim, by the way. That's a good point. That is a good point. Let me check what's my memory right now. We're using 12 gigs of memory at the moment. I haven't run into any memory issues. We're at basically no CPU usage at all, which is expected. Where's my GPU? 3, 4, 5, 6. Where is my GPU? Am I blind? Yes, I am blind. Menu. Wow. Presets? BTOP is cool. But can I click this? Oh, I can click it. That's cool. What's so wrong about pursuing it for the money? The reason why pursuing things for money is bad is because you will get out competed by people that enjoy it. They will get more money than you, and you won't, like, you won't be able to take their position, basically. But let's say you make your own business, then fine, whatever, doesn't matter. But if you're trying to get a job and you're competing with a bunch of people that love it, it's going to be hard. You do DevOps and genuinely enjoy it. There are different roles that are for more code heavy, more ops heavy, depending on your interests. You have 128 gigs. Damn. People can still choose money over deep passions and still excel. Yeah. You can also become passionate over time. That's a whole other thing. It's usually that you take action first and then you start enjoying it, generally. The only problem with it is, like you said, you will get outcompeted. Yeah. I suppose you can go either way as long as you have the discipline either way. It's just easier to have discipline when you enjoy it. You know what I mean? I think that's really the difference. Metas. Why only the first? Console.log tick dollar. Hello, Mika. Discipline, learning every day at least 8 hours is necessary. I don't think 8 hours is necessary. I think you could go with like 1 to 2 hours. Like I would never beat myself up if I only studied 1 hour every day. You know what I mean? Like even half an hour is good. It's the consistency that matters more because someone might think, I do 4 hours a day, but then they miss 4 hours. Whereas the person that consistently does half an hour or an hour every day and never misses any days, eventually will get more experience. Also, you need to be aware of your human limitations because you're not just a machine where you can input data into your brain and it stays in there. It doesn't work like that. You need to learn little bits, go to sleep, wake up, next day, learn it again a little bit more, go to sleep again. And that's how you actually solidify long-term knowledge. Your brain actually likes repetition and things that happen often, frequently. Because if they only happen like once every week or 2 weeks, your brain just thinks it's not important anymore. So that server is now refreshed. So if I jump on here and I open the tools, loading failed, probably because I have made a JavaScript syntax error or something like that. What do we have? This is what we added. If there is something wrong here, I can't see it. Console.log expected closing parenthesis. Ah. Okay. Makes sense. Presence is not defined. Spelling always helps. If you enjoy software engineering, you're going to study more than 8 hours and be happy about it. I don't think... If you have that much time, then sure, but... If you're passionate... I think if you have a project that you really enjoy, you can easily work on it a lot. Like nonstop. Especially if you have... I mean, it's all driven by dopamine, right? You think you're going to get a reward. That's why you continue. So if you're trying to build a thing that's really interesting to you, you know that when you have this picture in your mind of when it's finished, I will have something that I really like. And so you keep pushing and your body keeps motivating and pushing you for the reward. Maybe that reward is something like $1 million. If you have like a pathway to that, then you can be motivated towards working very long hours. Like if someone came up to you and said, if you study 12 hours a day every day for a year, I will give you $1 million. You'd do it, right? You would do it. Everyone here in the chat would do it. You'd set up your whole life so that you were successful. You'd put all of your stuff in the calendar. You'd get your alarms so you wake up on time. You'd go to bed. You get enough sleep. You know, you'd get your meals all planned out, get your coffee ready, and you'd smash out 12 hours a day. And I think it could be any subject. What if it was molecular biology? Okay, so this says 1 users online. Whoa. object, metadata, length, and then prototype array with a bunch of functions inside. I don't know what that is. Seems maybe like a JavaScript thing. Then if I open, say, another tab, we should see 2 viewers online, and then we do another one, 3, and another. That's cool. You'll try 1 to 2 days, then probably quit. You want to give up $1 million. Because for like guaranteed $1 million at the end of the 12 months if you spend 12 hours a day studying. That's a pretty good deal. You'd be bored by molecular biology? I think that's a pretty interesting topic. I think there's enough content there to keep you busy. You know, you could write a thesis. Who tests my knowledge while learning for 12 hours? Well, it's a theoretical situation. But let's just say someone's monitoring you study and they just looking to make sure that you're like reading something. Why do you use Firefox and not Brave? I don't know. Why not? Okay, so when we close the tabs, everyone left. That's cool. You were going to come to me in a year to cash in your $1 million? I never said it was me. Isn't Brave better for privacy? Probably. It works. So what do we do here? Let me just move that down. We handled the events, presence track, push, send, okay. And then we added the JavaScript for connecting. What was my last commit? Added JavaScript test connection. Added JavaScript, added presence handling, and got JS to connect. You can edit TTL sessions. How's learning Elixir? It seems cool. I think right now a lot of the heavy lifting is being done by the library and framework that we're using. And I'm just like playing into the framework, I guess. But it seems pretty nice. Okay, so now we're at the stage where I can add in cursor events. This will be interesting. It's saying add callback, so handle in cursor with XY position when X and Y is a number. And we got, so basically we got like constraints here on the parameters, which I like this. I like this actually. This is pretty cool. So this function can't even get called if you give it the wrong arguments, but yeah, it's kind of weird. So we're expressing in this function signature that we accept a string which has to be cursor. It has to be a string literal cursor. Then we accept a hash map which has X and Y, and then the values are bound, and those bound values must be numbers, and they must be in a particular range. That's pretty cool. So we got like valid. Is it validation or is it? I think there's a different word for this. My company disabled reconfiguring browser settings. Have I experienced office politics? I would say yes. But you would need to be more specific there. Okay, so we go back to the presence channel. And we want to add a new handle in callback. When is number x and is number y and x is above 0, x is below 1, broadcast from, I'm guessing this is a macro, socket. Looks like a macro to me. And then we return a no reply atom. Oh, wow. The formatter. Okay. So either I've done something. Oh, import true. Okay. The formatter doesn't care that this is really long. That seems a bit strange. Does it care about this? Okay. The formatter is not super opinionated. Is that with your team or outside your own team? Both. I've experienced both. But you have to be a bit more specific with that question. And then we've got another one here, def handle in. This is basically the case where we don't recognize the payload that was provided to us. So we're giving back a reply this time. And we're going to say it's an error. I'm just going to say invalid payload. Yeah, that seems fine. Mix format. Mix format. No formatting to be done. The client only supplies X and Y. The server supplies viewer IDs, preventing clients from impersonating another connection. Broadcast from socket. Yeah, makes sense. You try to understand my videos? I think that's normal because when I watch other people's streams, I always find it pretty hard to keep up with what they're trying to do as well. Like for example, I think TJ was streaming the other day and I was in there, but I think I was working at the time, so I couldn't completely focus. What is the mix format command? So mix seems to be it's an Elixir thing. It's a build tool. So mix is kind of like cargo, where you can do like mix test and mix format and mix compile. So that's what that is. Have I ever thought about standing? This is a standing desk. I don't often use it for that though. Basilius can't be understood, but we can still put our faith into him. I hope I can be understood at some point. So client supplies that. Coordinates must be between 0 and 1. Is error handling in Elixir less verbose than in Golang? It seems... It's hard to say because, like, for example, this is error handling right here. This function here is kind of error handling. But it's arranged in a different way. Rather than handling a value, I don't know. I haven't gotten to the point where I've done a lot, but at least for calling this function, it's got different... we're kind of doing overloading here of the function here. So if you call it with the wrong arguments, you're just calling a different function, and it is doing something completely different, which seems kind of nice, actually. All language have similar verbosity as Golang. I guess it depends. Yeah, I was thinking of the question mark operator. That certainly helps to make things a bit more terse, but okay, so we have add handling for cursor tracking. And then declare a connection flag before joining. Is that right? Right here? How many languages do you know? I know Python, Rust, Go, Lua, Bash, tiny bit of OCaml. Not really. A little bit. Really, really small amount. You've heard in Elixir there is checked everything with pattern matching, and you got keyword with to chain more than one conditions. I haven't gotten to that stage yet. Okay, so declare a connection flag before joining. Update the successful join handler. So that's here. Oh, wait. That's up here. Is it? So we've got to update this handler to have present joined equals true. When will I go back to industry and where? I am actually working at the moment. Somewhere. Present channel on close. Where is the on close handler? Do I not have that? Presence channel. Right. On close. This is weirdly a very different than these other handlers. Kind of weird, but okay. You're looking forward to C++ 29. They will add a Rust-like matching operator. Interesting. Yeah, Python did the same. They added a match statement with structural is structural pattern matching. Will the C++ be also structural? Don't you find that coding by hand like what you do now is a waste of your time, even for learning? No, I don't find that at all. Listen for other viewers' cursors. Presence channel on cursor. Oh, interesting. And finally, send normalized coordinates. So this is going to probably take into account the resolution of the browser, of the tab. Yeah. So we're going to add a event listener. We're going to have let last cursor sent at 0. So put this down the bottom. Event listener, pointer move. Oh, of course. Of course. So it's saying if presence has not been joined, or it's been 50 seconds since the last update, then don't send these events, basically, is what it is saying. Cursor. And we're just going to send in the dictionary that is expected on the Elixir side in the handler. That seems right. Nothing is a waste of time if it contributes to your overall knowledge, expanding in that particular thing, especially in programming. It's essential for retention of any information. Yeah, I would go so far as like you should be typing by hand. You should also be writing down with pen and paper. You should be writing. You want to become really good at system design. Where do I begin? Go to I think roadmap.sh is like a good website for that. This here. Roadmap.sh has lots of stuff. And probably what you would want to study system design. There's a system design one here. This would be a good way to go. Work through this. But importantly, you need a project where you can actually apply. So you can't just read through this linearly. You need to have a project idea and then apply some of these things. And you can't apply everything here to the same project. So more than likely, you will need to have multiple projects. But these are some pretty good topics. These are pretty good. All right, so now we've got the server running still. One error, console log remote cursor. Okay, did I mess something up here? Expected closing thing, but found a dot. Where did I not close? Is that still the case? One error, build finished. Can I visit the site? That doesn't look good. Do we have console errors? Yeah, we have console errors. Not found, okay. Loading script failed. That's fine. What is the syntax error here? What have I done wrong? Remote cursor, comma cursor. Is this meant to be like this? Was that it? No, that wasn't it. There's something else. No route found. Try maybe starting it again. Mix phoenix.server. Error. Console log. Still in the same area. Expected closing braces. Why? It's not this, is it? On close. That seems fine. Then we have... Maybe that's not supposed to be wrapped in parentheses. And then we have this one up here that I added. That equals true. What have I messed up here? Glad I'm trying Elixir. It was created by a Brazilian programmer. He also worked on Ruby on Rails. Oh, cool. Very interesting person to follow. I think I have seen him on YouTube. What's his name? Yose Valim. Oh yeah, he was on a stream with Primogen and Tej. That's cool. I think he was. I think he was also on a video where he was with Ginger Bill, talking to Ginger Bill. Ginger Bill made I think it's Odin. And I think they were both comparing like opinions about language design and stuff like that. Yeah, seems like a good guy. Seems very smart. I mean, obviously. Well, I'm enjoying this so far. The problem is this callback. I used equals instead. Okay, this here. Equals instead of an arrow. That was the problem. Okay, so I got, it said two users were joined. That seems not right. Oh, yeah, I've got two tabs open. Okay. And then it's tracking my mouse movements. That's funny. It seems like such a crazy, like, what? Let me see this. Okay, so port 4,000, yeah. So let's just see. What is it? Port 4000. I should see like tons of stuff. No? I should see packets flying through. What's my LO? Just LO, the character LO. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Okay. There's just crazy amounts of crap being transmitted. So it's got these little statuses, and I presume this is like the position or something like that. So it's sending like little bits, little tiny packets. What does it say? Length 0? It can't be length 0. What about mobile version? Well, that would depend. So that would depend on the JavaScript probably, or whatever the front end, whatever the mobile app does to track mouse finger position. But right now, it's just working with JavaScript here and the pointer move event in JavaScript. So it'd probably be a completely different piece of code for a mobile app, but then it'd still just be submitting the X and Y coordinates. So that'd be fine. I presume that when you're on a phone and you're using Firefox or something to open a page, that it would just count finger movement as cursor movement or something like that. Cool, it works. Now, let's just see what it says if I say it works. So yeah, Codex seems decent. I mean, this is not really a complex task, I would say. Nice. Now have the complete real-time data path, pointer movement channel push. Next learning step is rendering remote cursor messages. Where do I live? Australia, Sydney. 3 hours. Hi from Vietnam. Welcome in. Yes, I have been streaming for exactly well, not exactly, but just over 3 hours. So rendering remote cursor messages. We have more JavaScript code apparently. That makes sense. We've got. Oh, you like the shirt? I sell these in my shop. If you want to go look at my shop. I've actually got the store on. Wait, what's this? On. Yeah. How am I comfortable telling people where I live? Sydney is a big place. How much FTX am I holding? 0. Absolute 0. Yeah. So I took their logo, I stole their logo, and then I put the did a little bit of editing and slapped it on this t-shirt shop. I have ordered one of these myself. So the story is this one that I have, I got from some other shop. And then people started asking, like, where do you get it from? And I don't know. So I just made my own. And I have bought the t-shirt. It's gonna arrive in probably the middle of August, so maybe in like 2 weeks from now or something like that. And then I'll be able to see the quality, see if it's good. I'm pretty sure it's good quality. It's a well-known shop. Though the way that I found these ones, these people that make the shirt, is actually through Monkey Type. So Monkey Type also has a merch store that is done through the same like t-shirt printer. But they have these fancy ones. Look at this. They have embroidery. When I was setting up the shop, I didn't have this option. So they must have some special deal with these guys. But they should be good quality. My junior years were afraid of making mistakes. I think when I was younger, I was probably less afraid. I've always been kind of scrappy and reckless, to be honest. They hold more FTX. FTX had their own token, didn't they? Yeah. I remember that. I need more t-shirt ideas. I need to bulk out the shop. We need some drama, some memes to happen in the tech world. Like the most recent one was the Zig versus Rust thing. I don't know if you guys saw this, how there's all this argument on Twitter about how Rust apparently isn't memory safe. Time to make that Atlassian shirt. What do you mean? What's your idea there? All right, so add this after creating the presence channel. We're going to have a cursor layer, which is going to be a div. Okay. Can I just make a div? Oh no, I can't do that. Say we'll do it here. Const cursor layer is document create elements. Are we just adding a div right to the bottom of the page or something? What are we doing here? That Jira is not the solution? Nah, I'm not going to say anything bad about Atlassian. Do I ever feel exhausted after spending the whole day coding or sitting in front of a screen? To be honest, no, I don't feel tired at all. I can have Atlassian printed on the shirt with my signature. Personally signed by the engineer who got laid off or some shit. That's funny. Okay, so we're gonna have this const remote cursors, which is a map, and we are going to store stuff inside. Let me just clean up this stuff for a sec. We've got the socket at the top. Then we have the channel right here. We're going to have a cursor layer. Then we have the presence with the handlers. Then we have these window things happening. I'm going to move these down the bottom. Going to clean this up a little bit. That's related to that. That's related to that. Let's see. Present socket is way up here. Okay, that's fine. You want drama? You know, I feel like I don't know if that would sell. Maybe if it was closer to the initial viral impact, where everyone was piling into that damn video, but maybe if it was closer to that, I should have anticipated it. You know, could have sold tons of stuff. I do still have a lot of sponsors reaching out and trying to get me to sell their stuff. It's quite interesting. I feel like they need to get better salespeople because they're not doing a very amazing job, I would say, at convincing me to do anything. What do you all think if I was to bring a sponsor into this channel or something like that? How do you feel about that? Like someone in particular, a brand in particular, I actually use their stuff. They asked me if I would do 2 videos going over like a product review kind of thing. I'm considering it because like I said, I do actually use their product. So might actually be worth it to review something, you know. Give a free t-shirt to Prime and TJ, the rest will be history. You need to be able to guarantee X amount of views for good money. I don't know. I'm not sure how it works exactly. I think how it would work is they would just give me the product for free and I would review it. And they're kind of like taking a gamble of whether it's worth it maybe for them. Like it's probably quite cheap for them to give me the product rather than pay me actual money. Because it's just like whatever their cost price is. And then if they get a sale out of it or 2, they probably make that money back. If I believe in it and use it, there's no harm. Yeah, that's the thing. I actually already pushed back on them because they wanted me to do 2 products, and I told them basically, like, one of the products, I'm happy to do it, but the other one that they suggested, I said to them, like, no one's going to care about it. Like, no one wants this thing that they want to promote, especially not people that would watch this channel. But the other product that they suggested, some people would be interested, I think. Let me guess, is it a keyboard brand? No. But I did sign up to be an affiliate for Newfie. So if you do go to my website or my channel, you know, this is an affiliate link. This one here, the keyboard that I use. If you go through here and buy a keyboard, I get like a small payment based on the value of the thing that you buy. If I believe it, yeah. In that case, if they're buying exposure, it's taking up the cost of that free product, yeah. Make a good background check on them so you don't get backlashes from anything, because When you advertise, you represent the product. Dude wipes. It is actually, I can say that it is the brand which I have a USB switch. That's not what they want me to promote, but I have a USB switch so that I've got my laptop on my left and my PC on my right. And they're both connected into the switch. So when I want to, I just have one screen. So they're both connected in, the same thing. And let's say I turn off my PC, I want to use my laptop. I just switch over my USB with a button and change my monitor source. And yeah, I've used that USB switch for years. So, you know, it's still working. I think they're probably worth promoting a little bit. Replace your cursor, logging callback. So now we have get remote, remove remote. We're interacting with this map here. Leave that like that. We're not calling these methods yet. We're going to now change the handle, which is here. So I need to put this above. So I'm going to grab this, move it up. Maybe just move it up, way up here. Elixir is pretty. This is JavaScript, but Elixir is cool. I like it. So on cursor. Right. So we're no longer binding this to a single thing. We are, wait a second. This is valid in JavaScript? What? I didn't know that. That's cool. Get remote cursor with the viewer ID. And then we're going to do cursor.style times 100. Did I not close this properly? Why is it red? Can we get a 7-day stream? You mean streaming for 7 days non-stop? Impossible. You have an older 8th gen i5 recommendations. I don't know, man. Not really watching TBS, just here for quality content. Well, thank you. You can use a lot of things for years and don't know the company is evil and do something not right, so do a background check. Oh, I don't think that their USB switch is doing anything. I'm looking handsome today? Nice. Why is this red? What have I done here? Cursor style left equals, and then style top. That's not red. That is. Okay, well, what's Elixir? It's a programming language. When do I sleep? At night. Oh, that's a good point. It's like past midnight at the moment. Maybe it is the time. Elixir is Elixir. This is JavaScript. That's correct. Presence on leave. So we had on cursor and then on leave. We need to remove remote cursor with the viewer ID. Don't need to change the signature. And then we want to change the CSS, apparently. App CSS. What? Okay, add the CSS for me. For pi, try pi and never look back. Oh, thank you for the little star. For 2 joules. I still have no idea what what that does, but thank you very much. Elixir is a sister project of Palantir. Is it really? That doesn't sound right. Yeah, these are not related. In fact, it seems that Palantir uses Java. Okay, so it added the CSS here. Do we have errors? Yeah, we got errors, I think. Get remote cursor. Expected semicolon? Oh, whoops. All right. Where is the div? Handled cursor. Wait, what happened here? Choose a tab. Yeah, I wanted to add these to split view. Oh! Oh my goodness. There's a cursor. Oh, look at this. So if I move it in a circle, you see it's making sort of a hexagon or a pentagon because it's like not updating every, nanosecond. But that's cool. That's cool. That's nice. I wonder how that's going to actually perform when it's like when the messages are being sent to like a server in the cloud rather than obviously local network's going to be super fast. Yeah, it's using WebSockets, I'm pretty sure. Uncle glowed up here. You're here for a while. What am I trying to accomplish? I'm basically trying to set up like long-lived connections with Elixir and the ability to track presence on a website. And then at some point, I will hook it up with my blog just for fun, just temporarily. So that, and then get everyone in the chat to to visit the website and smash the server and see how much it can handle. I want to see how good Elixir is at doing this kind of thing. That's all. Yeah, it's going to be a cloud virtual machine. Where to get the config files for my terminal? Go to my website, and my dot files are listed there. This is cool. I think we might call it at this point. This is a good stage to call it. My dot files are here, by the way, on my website. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. Let's see. Let me think for next stream. We've got the basic machinery set up. So I'd need to get this JavaScript code onto my blog, and then I'd need to deploy the Elixir Phoenix server onto Cloud VM, and then basically just see the connection working. And that's probably, yeah, maybe that after that point we'll delve a little bit deeper into Elixir. Why don't I use Git so I don't lose the files? I am using Git, but I haven't pushed it to a remote, so it's okay. My hard drive is not going to blow up anytime soon. I use GitHub actually. You can find my GitHub. You can find my GitHub on my site in the links here at the top. GitHub, Discord, all that stuff. So yes, it is late. And so I will finish it up here, but I would first like to say thank you to everyone for being here. Thank you, B Diddy, for dropping another 10 memberships. Yeah, it's been cool. Thanks everyone for chilling. I'll catch you later.